Welcome back to the shop. This is Shoptalk number 11 for March 2016, and as you can see by the background, quite a bit changed. I did a complete shop remodel. Well, not a complete shop remodel, only the side of the shop where no machines are. This is the area where I do my layout and handwork and fitting and assembly work and repair stuff. So the workbench that was here, the monster with 2.50 m length and 80 cm depth to the wall, is gone. I ripped out all the old shelves and I made new shelves, and I bought a new workbench. Yes, I bought it, I didn't make it myself, because by the time I buy the steel and a drawer cabinet for it, I spend as much money as for a proper made in Germany, workbench. This is a all steel welded construction, angle iron, with a 50mm birch plywood top, and yeah, it's quite a nice workbench. Can support up to one. They claim it can support up to 1 ton on the surface of the surface on the workbench top. So quite a solid, sturdy bench. Not really a fabricator's workbench, more a machinist's workbench. But that's fine. I don't do a lot of fabrication. So let's take a look what I did to the shop. Okay, you might remember the old cabinets where you can see them in the picture I'm showing you right now. And I ripped out all the old shelves and I repainted the wall. I closed up all the drill holes in the concrete wall, and I repainted the wall with white, as you do. And then I made this shelf unit here. On this side it holds all my small part drawers. I have them all in one place now. I have an area where I have a lot of the crap I use all the time, like T-handled Allen wrenches, shim stock, brass shim stock up here, a few pens, some punches, my optimizer. Also I mounted my work light for the bench. I have some consumables here. I have solvents, oils, some glue and some material up there. And up there is the stuff I don't need that often, like my small kiln, a lot of the bigger raw material, stock material, longer, up to 1.50 m up there. And yeah, that's this new shelf, and it looks kind of organized because I use the small part drawers. On the face of this shelf I have a cutout for 40mm PVC pipe to keep all my small diameter round material organized, kinda. This holds material length up to 1 meter. And you can just, yeah, it's a short piece, and you can just pull it out and reorganize. I still need to lock these pipes in place. I will just run a small amount of hot melt glue between the wood and the PVC pipe, and that will give it enough holding power. Okay, this is the new workbench with the 50mm plywood top, all steel construction, nice deep drawers. They extend out almost all the way. Set up to have a spot for sitting, so I can do work while I'm sitting, and have some leg room in there, which is quite nice. Oh, by the way, my shop stool here is an IKEA stool, costs $5 and is quite nice, and it's almost comfortable. Over here I have the cart with the tool and cutter grinder, and I added some shelves to it, which I was intended to do for a few years now. And I moved in my tool post grinder, and I made some holders for the accessories like the collets and the grinding wheels. And down here there is a Festool sustainer with my electrician tools that I need for wiring around the house. So this is also finished right now. It's very usable that way, and it's a lot more space efficient than before, because before I didn't have these two shelves and I could just stack it full, and when I needed something from the bottom it was always a pain. Okay, this is another look into the shop, and on this side is the workbench you just saw before, the new workbench, and over here is my old workbench, the lister cabinet, the drawer cabinet with the vise on it. And as you can see, I turned it around 90 degrees, and this gave me a whole new shop layout. Now I have the handwork area, and behind me is the machine area. And I like this setup because in front here I can have the tool cart standing and not be me in the way. So this is my new layout. The toolboxes will go onto the wall. I will weld up a bracket to hold toolboxes on the wall, because up here they are a bit in the way. Okay, we're over at the workbench. Small workbench with the toolboxes, and I'm not going to show you the contents of this toolbox stack again. I did this already in the old shop tour video I did 2 years ago. Man, that's a long time. But I will briefly go through the drawers of the cabinet. Just because I added some dividers to them. In the first drawer I have a rack with my most used files, and below it I have some bigger hand tools like my hand scraper, small bed blow hammer, brass hammer which I don't like, big chisel knife, some gloves, and back there is stuff I don't use much, spare wrenches, and some attachments for some wire wheels and grinding wheels for the drill press. In the next drawer, this drawer I have frequently used power tools, my small handheld electric drill, the blue Bosch that goes up to 4000 RPM, which I like very much, very handy drill, and my die grinder. And back there's some electronic stuff too, power supplies, my multimeter, and some test leads. Don't use it very much, so I can keep it in a drawer. This drawer I have some welding accessories like wire brushes and my small welding table. This is just a piece of ground tool steel with a lot of tapped holes and a bracket on the bottom, which I can clamp in the vise and set up parts on top with clamps and weld them for small parts stuff. I have welding gloves, some silicone bronze filler rod, some silver solder and bronze solder, some stick welding electrodes, and just welding supplies. Next drawer, also just with very simple plywood compartments resin, silicone, some grinding compound, case hardening compound, mold release, glue, and yeah, you see there is not very much in it until now. And in the last drawer, I keep some steel. This is almost all tool steel in this wooden box. And I have some bigger, some cut-offs from structural piping or square tubing, some big diameter pipe rings which I have around for whatever, some cast iron, continuous cast, and so on and so on. This is quite a lot. Oh, and some, a friend of mine has a laser cutting shop, and in his chunk I find always these round cutouts when he does hole cutting in sheet metal with his laser, and I saved them, at least some. They are quite handy sometimes. And you can imagine this stuff weighs quite a lot, but these lift-out drawers can take the weight and still move very easy. I can push it in with my safety boot very easily. And back there in the corner I have some wood scraps. I made a small cart so I can wheel it in and out if I need to swift through it. I have sheet goods in there, some plywood, some sheet metal, this is aluminum, some rubber sheeting, some plastic, just stuff you need all the time when you need to support something or cover something up, and yeah. And the roll around cart makes it very easy to move. And you need a crowbar, of course. Okay, that's the handwork area, and that was the main thing I wanted to do when I did the remodel of the shop. I wanted to organize this whole area here where I do all the hand, where I sit, I do sketching, I do a lot of the video I do on the bench, and yeah, I want it to be a nice spot, so I like how it turned out. I repainted the wall in this area, and there is nothing like a freshly painted white wall. Quite nice. I did also a small project of work. Somebody at work asked me if I could drill him some 107mm holes in a big piece of 10mm macrolone or Lexan. And I have some footage of me trepanning the holes on a milling machine with the boring head. I will show it to you. Okay, you just saw me trepanning a 102mm hole in 10mm polycarbonate, and I'm using a small boring head with one of the boring bars I made in a earlier video, and I'm using a tool bit that's ground like a parting tool on the lathe, and I'm just plunging down. I'm running it at 95 RPM, dry by hand feed with the quill. It's cutting very well, working very good. Only problem is this piece of polycarbonate is about 1 meter long, so it's kind of big and hard to move around. So, and I have to come up with some creative ways to hold it. So yeah, let's move it and cut another hole. Okay, the trepanning worked very well, and my workmate was very happy with the result of it. And another very nice thing is I got a height gauge, a meter to a height gauge. A very kind viewer, David England, asked me if I wanted to have a meter to a height gauge. He sent me a few pictures. He asked me if I wanted it. I said yes, because it was really looking to be in very good shape. And he sent it to me. He did a first-class packing job, and he sent it over to Germany, and I got it without any damage. And I'm very happy with it. It's a nice height gauge. It's exactly the kind of height gauge I like. I will show it in a second to you. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, David. I really like the height gauge, and also thank you for the very nice letter you put in there. Okay, this is the height gauge David sent to me. And as you can see right now, I have it set up with a dial test indicator in front here to sweep the top of parts to see if they are flat to the surface plate. And that's one of the main uses I like to have these height gauges for, as a very precise and very rigid indicator stand. They are very nice to adjust in height, and you can lock them very secure in place. And the height gauge came without any accessories. It looked like the height gauge looked like this when it came here, and I made this holder, which is a combination of a dial test indicator holder and a normal indicator holder. It just clamps onto the height gauge on this end here and gets locked in place with the two screws. Like this. You get your indicator, drop it in the reamed and slitted clamping hole, and lock it in place. And now you have a very precise indicator holder, and you can sweep, for example, the surface plate if you want, for whatever reason. Set it to 0, and now you can sweep the surface plate. And I have a dovetail in here, so I can also take my nice MAR 0.002 of a millimeter dial test indicator and have this set up. Yes, and I have also another attachment, of course, and this is a carbide scribe. So you move it down to the surface plate, then you zero it, and now you can do layout on a part with parallel lines to the surface plate, which is very common use, of course, for a height gauge. And the carbide tip here, this is a blade for a shaper head, for a wood shaper. And this is just a steel body with a carbide piece braced in there, and it's ground on two surfaces, and this makes a perfect scribe for the height gauge. I just added a bit of a bracket to clamp it to the height gauge. So very nice tool, and it gets a lot of use for the even in a short time I had this. So thank you again, David. I love this tool. Okay, and now let's do a quick tour. We are entering the shop through the door, and the main view is the new workbench, the old workbench, and my tool cart, which stands on the front side of the old workbench, or the it's a drawer cabinet that I use as a workbench. Over here is the new shelving and my lamp that's over there, the shelf. I didn't mention this before. Up there are all my running projects, the steam engine, the ER11 engraving spindles, the sign bars, and new project an angle table that we will make a precision angle table. I will keep my abrasives in there, and I will also keep my camera equipment in there. I might add a plexiglass door for the lower compartment to keep the camera gear out of the dust and dirt. My TIG welder moved into the corner where it sits quite nicely. Over here is the workbench with the scrap wood cart. And we have the tool cart, on which I added a new wooden top, which is almost too nice for the shop. And we have the shaper. Which got an oil pan. I ordered a oil pan to fit the stand of the machine. The gag shaper always loses a lot of oil due to the lubrication, and I don't like to have the oil all over the floor. The steel pan keeps it in place and makes for a more neat shop. We have still the lathe and the bandsaw, my vacuum cleaner, the engraver, and the big milling machine in their old place. And we have the table with the granite surface plate, the microscope, and my watchmaker's lathe. And I added some wheels to this table, so I can take this whole table with the granite surface plate, which I will replace by a bigger one. I will order one at least double this size, and also a made in Germany one, not the Chinese tombstone anymore. But I added wheels to this cart so I can move it over to the workbench when I do scraping, so I don't have to move around all the time. And that's the door we came in. And there's the grinder and my tool grinder next to it. Okay, that's all. I just want to show you how the shop looks now, and also give you a reason why there is absolutely no project video for the last few weeks. And also why I didn't answer comments. I was real busy down here in the shop to get this all sorted out. And also I did some work in my living room, which took also quite a lot of time. So I hope I get back on track with the project videos pretty soon. The sign bars are almost done. The second part of the video where we do the tool post grinding on the rollers of the sign bar is almost finished, and there will be a third video on the sign bars where I make the wooden cases for it. At least I hope, if I don't mess it completely up. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this short update, and I thank you all for watching, and I'll be back.